Hi guys, I hope this video finds you well and not just bored to tears. Anyway, you should have received your summer learning packet, and within that you'll see several different texts. So I wanted to do this quick video of a strategy that will help you comprehend the text on a little bit deeper level, not just the surface level, but a little bit deeper. So we have talked about doing summary sentences before. We have worked on it. We were working on it before spring break even got out. So this is not a new concept to you, but it is a concept that I really enjoy, and I think it is great and helps us to understand these texts as we're reading them, because the ultimate goal of reading anything is to comprehend or to understand what we're reading, and summary sentences helps us to do that. I'm going to read the steps, and then I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do this with a text called the Great Depression. You may remember it because we've used it before also. But anyway, so here are the steps. You're going to divide your text or your passage into sections. Then you're going to number those sections. And then we're going to do a cold read of the passage. And when we cold read, it means that we haven't seen it yet, and we're just going to try to read it and try to understand just the gist and the main idea of the text. And then we will reread the passage, and we'll write a summary sentence for each section. And then after that, we will be ready to answer those comprehension questions. It does take a little bit of work up front, but in the end, you're going to see that it was definitely worth the effort, so that when it's time for you to answer those questions, most likely they're already going to be answered for you or easy to find because of those summary sentences. So let's look at this text called the Great Depression. Like I said, I have already numbered these sections for us. There are 5 sections. I've read it through already, and now I'm going to go back through and read each section and try to do my summary sentences. Okay? You see that first section, it just kind of gives us a general idea of what the Great Depression was. And my summary sentence for this section is going to be that the Great Depression was a devastating 10-year period that negatively impacted many Americans. And that section is really short already, but I think it's important because it's likely that it contains our main idea, because the title says the Great Depression. Our first sentence starts with the Great Depression, and it kind of just gives us a general idea of what that might have been like for people in America at that time. So section 2, I have read it for a second time. You can pause here if you need to read this text and to do this with me. But here I noticed that the stock or stock market has been repeated multiple times. So that is always an indication that that's your main idea of that particular section. And so this one is that the stock market crash of 1929 is said to be the start of the Great Depression. Give me just a second as I type that in. Okay, let's move on to sections 3, 4, and 5. Here in section 3, I have read it for the second time, and I'm ready to do my summary sentence yet again. I noticed that there's a bold word, fortunes, and I noticed that money is repeated and stocks again are money, and that's directly related to money. So my summary sentence here is going to have to do with that, and I said that as a result of the stock market crash many people panicked and overwhelmed the bank trying to withdraw their money. Or their life savings. It wasn't just, a little bit of money, it was their entire life savings. Okay. Section 4, I noticed another bold word, products. Do a summary sentence here. Say, this led to a plummet or a drop in the price of products and then led to job loss and severe pay cuts, causing them to default or not to be able to pay their loans or their bills. Just one more section to go. It talks about the daily life and mentions a couple presidents here. And so I think a good summary sentence for section 5 is that the American people blamed the president for the state that they were in. And that was President Hoover. And they thought that a new president would help them. A newly elected Franklin Delano Roosevelt would help reverse the situation that they were in. And so that's the end of our text. And the next step to this summary sentences is to use our summary sentences to answer comprehension questions about the text to see if we truly understand what we read. So the first question here is, what is the main idea of the text? And if you'll remember, I told you our title, our first paragraph, and every paragraph after that were all directly related to the Great Depression. So let's go back and look at our summary sentences. Talks about the Great Depression in section 1, section 2. Again, directly related in 3, 4, and 5. So the main idea of this text is that the Great Depression had a very negative impact on the American people. Question number 2 there says, according to the text, what was the Great Depression? And let's go back and look at our summary sentences. If you will look in that first section, it tells you exactly what the Great Depression was, and it says it was a time of widespread suffering and financial hardship. Question 3, do you see how quickly we're answering these questions just using our summary sentences? Also, doing that helps us to remember what we read, and writing those summary sentences will really help us to do that. So question 3 says, based on the text, what is commonly viewed as the start of the Great Depression? I remember us writing a summary sentence about something that started the Great Depression. You see here in section 2, our summary sentence is, the stock market crash of 1929 is said to be the start of the Great Depression. So we've already answered that question. That work is already done for us. And then the last question here, just as an example, determine the meaning of the word fortunes in the text. Okay, it was in section 3. I'd already told you about some of the context clues and stuff around that, where it talked about the stocks and money and people losing their life savings. So I can infer that fortunes means a large amount of money. Just using that and our summary sentence. I hope that this summary sentences strategy helps you to understand the text on a deeper level. I hope you use it because you can use it with any text there is. It doesn't matter if this is fiction or if it's nonfiction. If you have a poem or an article, it doesn't matter as long as you can write these summary sentences. And being able to summarize is one of the biggest skills that a fifth grader needs to master.